Hello, dear viewer. I'm Jelenon with Lunar Nebula Gaming, and this is Nexomon Extinction. The sequel to Nexomon, which I have played on iOS, but this one is once again on Steam. As far as I'm aware, the ESRB is basically E10+. I believe on the Nintendo Switch that's how they have it rated. Parents, keep in mind in this game there are some minor curse words, usually not too often, but they do pop up, such as right here. The battle system in Nexomon Extinction is much like the first one. I would say it is deeper, and it definitely has benefited from a lot of the changes they've made. This is the Steam version I am playing. I haven't checked out the mobile version yet, but at least in this one, the battles with the bosses also feel pretty reasonable. Difficult at times, but reasonable. Not like they're impossible unless you cheese them. So that is a nice change in my opinion. But as you can see, the violence is basically this far. There's no real blood. There may be a couple of effects like slashes where the screen turns red and stuff like that. But as far as I can remember, there's no real gore. So if your kids are fine with Pokemon, they should be fine with Nexomon in terms of the battling. But once again, there are some curse words and things to keep an eye out for. At least, my mother would consider them curse words. Let me put it that way. Nexomon Extinction also has a few voiceover cutscenes. One at the beginning, one at the end. Here's a sample.
And defy the wheel of fate. Victory was at our grasp. Omnicron's legacy is now barren.
In addition to its own brand of craziness, it also makes lots of references to things like mecha and all sorts of other media. Additionally, there are in-game references to things like how the characters are behaving. So for example, right here, got the Grandmaster's badge, and yeah, people don't like you jumping on the stairs. Go figure. Speaking of characters, there's a large cast of characters with a lot of personality in Nexomon Extinction. Here's Celine and her tyrant, Petrum. You're going to have to fight them at some point and maybe make them into allies. That will come throughout the game. There's some twists and turns in this story, let me put it that way. While going through those twists and turns, you will see some wonderful art as well that keeps you invested in the story and seeing what the vision of the creators is. But of course the main focus of the game is on the battle system, so it is very much like Pokemon. I would say this game has improved a lot over Nexomon 1. The status effects feel more relevant. There are some neat things you can do to stamina and to create barriers and so on. After battling, of course, you're going to gain experience points, and those experience points are going to help your Nexomon level up. And the Nexomon in this game level with you throughout the game, so it does become a little bit more difficult to potentially backtrack and train something. The game introduces a new system with synergy cores and with different treasures like XP boosters that stack and continue to give you a greater amount of XP per booster you collect throughout the game. So it heavily encourages exploration through the game and really looking through every nook and cranny to find those little treasures that will give you the boost you need. Helping you with exploration will be certain powers you unlock. Now, some of the antagonists from the first game make a return. You will learn from them how to control some of the elements in order to basically Metroidvania your way into new areas through, say, fire or the power of wind to help you jump. Here's an example of fire. If you didn't get to play the first Nexomon, I highly recommend you do it because the story does connect very well with that. You'll see the characters interact with each other, maybe wonder what's going on, but you really don't need to play it. It's just kind of nice if you want to see why the characters act in certain ways. Other than that, the other thing to keep in mind is you're kind of becoming the bad guy in some ways, and the characters, while funny, do not present the best role models, shall we say. So here's Coco taking advantage of our position, is, a gold tamer and all that. And here is his reaction. I can't believe that worked. But yeah. As I mentioned previously, there's a wonderful new system of these cores. So each Nexomon can equip up to 4 cores at a time, and there are 3 different levels of each core. You can equip multiples of the same one to get better bonuses. The way to create these is you mine shards throughout the game, so the more you explore and find these shards, then the more you can do with them, right? And so, highly recommend getting the Synergy XP cores, the ones at the very bottom. They are very good for helping all of your Nexomon level at the same time. The other XP core is decent, especially if you are trying to get a weaker Nexomon out front and switch train it. You can pretty much find various quests and things to help you get the cores, and it does feel like you can, in fact, train up weaker Nexomon. It's just going to be a little bit of a chore to do so, but these make it a lot easier. Nexomon Extinction does feature a lot of meta humor and a lot of comments directed at the player themselves, so that's kind of fun. If you don't like that, that might be something that turns you off of this game. This is mostly just a heads up that it is there. And other than that, another cool thing about this is it wasn't a very large team that made the game. Once you finish playing the game, there's a little thank you, and, of course, post-game stuff to do, like catching the various legendaries that you interacted with throughout the story. So you can go back, figure out what you want to do to catch them. You can use various food items to increase your capture rate, which is another fun thing in this one, and you do see the exact percentage chance of what it will be like to capture something. So I really like that feature in Nexomon Extinction. I wish Pokemon had something similar, but you know, you just Google it for Pokemon. But this just shows you, so you can have a better idea of what to do. There are, of course, different traps as well. There are elemental Nexo traps that have a higher catch chance based on the element you're trying to catch. And, of course, golden Nexo traps, which are just 100% going to catch something. And I got 11 of those throughout the game just by playing the game. There's no in-app payment on the Steam version. You know, what you paid for is what you get. And without further ado, you do have to type in something. That seems a little bit weird to me. I feel like the game doesn't need that. And I don't think this is quite accurate, but it took about 40 hours. I took some breaks and left this on sometimes. So, pretty close to accurate, but probably not. You know, it is what it is. I hope you, dear viewer, have enjoyed this playthrough, and have a great day.